How's it going, my awesome bunch of bakers? I hope you're having a great day so far. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I think I'm getting carried away with the rough puff pastry. I think this will be the last one for now. Let's go and make some sausage rolls. This pastry is just so versatile, I can't stop making things with it. This time I've changed it up a bit. We're using whole wheat flour. That gives it extra depth of flavor. And it goes perfectly with the sausage meat filling. I'm not quite sure how popular sausage rolls are around the world, but you can find them everywhere here in the UK. You can of course fill your pastry with whatever you like, but if you're a meat eater, you should definitely give this one a go. Crunchy, flaky, tasty pastry with that hearty filling, a little bit of mustard. It's so simple, but it just works. I know I said this might be the last recipe for now, but I might just use this pastry for one more video. But back to the sausage rolls. Here's what we're going to use. For the pastry, we need some whole wheat flour, butter, water and salt. Temperature control is of utmost importance here. The water and the butter must be cold, like totally cold. You want your butter to be hard. And if it's very hot in your kitchen, you could even chill down the flour. If you don't use cold ingredients, it's not gonna work. We'll use an egg for glazing, and I decided to sprinkle on some caraway seeds. You can of course use any seeds you like, or skip them altogether. There are a couple of choices when it comes to sausage fillings. You can buy whole sausages, like I did, or you can just buy the sausage meat. I prefer getting individual sausages, because that makes portioning a lot easier, because there is no portioning, it's already portioned for you. But we don't want the casings on the sausages, and here's a great way to remove them. Dust them with flour, then cut them open, and just peel the casing off. Flouring the sausages makes the job so much easier. If you don't believe me, try peeling one without flouring it. Saying that if they have natural casings, like these ones do, you don't really have to peel them, but I think taking it off makes the biting of the sausage roll a little bit more pleasant. Okay, and that's how you peel a sausage. Now these can go in the fridge until we need them. Let's look at the equipment that we'll use. We'll need a tray with some non-stick paper, a bowl, scales, a dough scraper, a brush and a rolling pin. And with all that out of the way, let's start making our dough. And I'll just say it again for good measure. Your butter and your water must be cold. First up, in a large bowl, combine the flour and the salt. Give them a good mix. Next up, add the butter. You want your butter chunks to be quite large. First things first, coat all the butter pieces in flour. Just toss them around real quick and make sure they're all covered. Now pick up one of the butter cubes and press it between your thumbs and forefingers. You want to break each cube into no more than 4 pieces. We're not making biscuit dough here. We don't want the butter to be completely broken up. Handle each butter cube only once. Break it up and then continue on to the next. You want the mix to be nice and chunky, looking just like this. If it's much smoother, it will not work. Finally, add the cold water. Now grab your scraper and start mixing this to a dough. And if the scraper's not doing the job, continue on by hand. You don't really want to knead this dough, just press it together. If it becomes a bit difficult, just tip it out on the table. Press it until there's no more dry flour left. It may seem too dry at first, but just keep squeezing it and it will come together. The most important thing is not to start kneading it. And there you go, this is how it should look when it's done. And that's the hard part over. There is nothing else that could go wrong after this. The initial mixing of the dough is the most important part of this recipe. Now we must wrap it up and place it in the fridge for 1 hour to chill down. A cold dough is much easier to work with. And during that 1 hour of sitting in the fridge, it would have also relaxed. That will make our job much easier when we roll it. And this is where the dough is going to receive the first few folds. Dust the table and the dough generously with flour. Then grab a rolling pin and gently roll it out to about 3 times its length. Don't worry if it's a bit uneven and scruffy looking, that's totally normal. Just try and make it as straight as you can. Once you have rolled it out to size, just even out the edges using your hands. Make sure the dough is facing you horizontally on the table. Then pick up 1/3 of it and fold it over. Brush off any excess flour, then pick up the other end and fold it over. We've created the first 3 layers. Now we need to give it another fold, and for that we need to roll it out again. If you feel the dough sticking, dust it with some more flour. Now we need to roll this in the direction of the 2 open ends. Once again grab your rolling pin and roll it out gently to about 3 times its length. And don't worry about measuring too much, just eyeball it. And the same as before, lay it down horizontally facing you, fold over 1/3, straighten out the edge and brush off any excess flour if need be, and then fold the loose end over. Now we have gone from 3 layers to 9, but we are not quite done yet. After this, you need to wrap it up again and place it in the fridge to chill down for 1 more hour. This is the perfect thing to make for when you're home all day. It takes almost no effort, just time. Right, 1 more hour later, grab the dough out of the fridge, unwrap it again, and we'll perform the same steps as before. Dust the table and the dough generously with flour, roll it out in the direction of the 2 open ends. You can start off by pressing it with a rolling pin. That may help you roll it out a bit more straight. The same as earlier, roll it to about 3 times its length. Then once again fold it into 3 layers, roll it out again in the direction of the 2 open ends, and fold it up again. So we started with 9 layers, then we went to 27, then we ended up with 81. And that was the final fold. Now we can pop this in the fridge for another hour before it can be used. During this time you want to preheat your oven to 210 degrees Celsius fan off, and that is 410 degrees Fahrenheit. So from here you could make whatever you like, but this is how you make sausage rolls. As ever, give the dough and the table a generous dusting of flour. Press the dough out using a rolling pin and then roll it out to a large rectangle. It should be more than 2 sausages high and more than 4 sausages long. Yes, I did use a sausage to measure this. It works. There are a couple of options for cutting your dough. A pizza cutter works great. You could use a knife too, just don't mess up your table. Instead of cutting it in a sawing motion back and forth, just press the knife straight down. Okay, trim the edges, then cut the dough in half lengthways, and then divide it into 8 equal pieces, because we got 8 sausages. Always start in the middle, cut the dough in half, then cut it in half again. That is the best way of getting evenly sized pieces, without measuring. Now spread them out and egg wash each piece of dough. If you don't eat eggs, you could brush them with some milk, or even just water. It's just there to make the dough stick together better. Right, lay down your filling, and then gently fold the dough over, and it should perfectly meet up on the other side. The sausage should fit in there perfectly, because we measured it with the sausage. You have 2 options here. You could do what I'm doing, fold the dough over, and then lay it down on top of the bottom piece of dough, or you could tuck it underneath the sausage and roll it forwards, making it seamless essentially. I personally prefer this look, especially when it's crimped together with a fork like this. It just looks a bit more interesting to me. But it's your sausage roll, you do you. But whatever you decide to do, they will turn out beautiful. And if not beautiful, then at least tasty. Right, clean down the mess because there's a couple more things we need to do before baking. Even though they will not puff up too much, give them a little bit of space. Now brush them generously with your egg wash, or any glaze of your choice. If you want to see more about glazes, you can find a video about that in the Principles of Baking playlist. I compared 15 of the most commonly used glazes in bread making. Now lastly, sprinkle on some seeds, or not, and get these bad boys in the oven. They'll take around 25 minutes. And just look at them baking. Isn't that beautiful? I just love these time-lapse shots. I will definitely make another compilation video for Christmas this year. Okay, once your sausage rolls are golden brown all over, they're ready. And if you are unsure about the doneness of the filling, probe it. If it reads above 75 degrees Celsius or 167 Fahrenheit, it's fully cooked and safe to eat. But 25 minutes of baking will most certainly do it. And just look at these beauties. They're perfect. Well, at least to me they are. And I'm sure yours will be too. Follow my instructions for sausage roll success. You'll be enjoying crumbly homemade pastry wrapped around a hearty filling in no time. Just don't forget the mustard. So what do you think of this recipe? Have you ever used rough puff pastry before? And what's your favorite use for it? Let me know down there in comments. If you want to see more videos like this one, click over here. Subscribe to the channel, click right here. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.